So you got your wish, and I was kind of right. I think that's the best way to frame it. Long-standing Richard Bazzy, man he champions Omar Khan, and close friend, is going to be the next Steelers general manager. I think that's what we need to say first. And you know this gentleman, you have for a long time, and you have championed the kind of person that he is both on and off the football field as a person, as someone that's a professional, all of it. Do I have that correct?
You really do. You really do. And I say that unequivocally. It's absolutely true. And you were the first to tell me, he didn't tell me, you were the first to tell me at 5:30 this morning that Omar had received the job and it would be announced publicly by Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I was really taken by it. I'm actually a little surprised. I'm not surprised on merit. I'm surprised that it took so long. But time exposes everything and everyone, and the good guys always win.
Yeah. So that's the part that you got right and that you wanted. And the part that I guess I got right was I told you moving forward, the model was more than likely going to be a splitting of the duties and essentially a couple GMs, and they're going to bring in Andy Weidel from Philadelphia. Omar will continue to be the money man because he's an absolute maverick. With if they say, "Well, you have $100,000, but we need to make it into 300," he says, "Oh, okay, I can make that happen." And then from a player procurement standpoint, from looking at a football field and saying player X is better than player Y, they need somebody to be able to identify talent and do that. And Andy Weidel from Philadelphia is going to do that. So that person.
Wait. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are we assuming that, or have they said that?
Well, he's the assistant GM, and he's going to take care of the personnel side.
Yes, but that's you saying it. Tisk, tisk, tisk. That's you saying it. They didn't say it, right?
Well, from an organization structure, what makes you think that all of a sudden, if Omar didn't undertake those duties in the past, he would start to assume a lot of those duties?
I don't know that he'll assume them, but I think he's capable of them.
Yeah.
And I think so. So really, and I think I even responded to you that way. That could be a good thing. Depends on if Omar wanted it that way, and that Andy Weidel was his choice. So does Omar want that structure, and does Omar want that person? I'm going to say yes. And what is the structure? We didn't have an assistant GM when Kevin was here, but remember, we did have an assistant GM when Kevin was here. We just called him something different, and that was Omar. So Omar was director of football operations, right?
Right. And I wonder if the real assistant GM is Mike Tomlin anyway when it comes to player personnel situations, when you really think about it.
Well, I think, and that's exactly what I think. And I think that Mike ultimately had to sign off on it, and Omar, they're close. I mean, they got, those guys know the ins and outs together. I don't see Andy coming in in a split role. I don't see that. You're assistant general manager. That's what you do. That's your job. What's it mean? Whatever Omar wants it to mean. So that's kind of how I see it. And I know you disagree because, you go back to that structure that you thought would be in place when it was conversation was Omar and Brandon Hunt, right?
And essentially the same skills that Brandon Hunt has are the skills that Andy Weidel has. So we'll see.
I mean, it's like bringing in Brian Flores to be the assistant defensive coordinator. I mean, he's there, doesn't minimize somebody else's role. I mean, he's almost there like an advisor. And if Omar needs a guy to talk to, he's got Andy. And maybe there is a separation of state and church. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe there is a separation of duties. But until I hear that from Steelers, I'm going to assume he's there to be his assistant.
Omar has been a guy in the background because by virtue of what he does, he stays in the background. He handles contracts. He does things like that. He makes sure that the payroll works. He makes sure that if a player is brought in, that they can be brought in under the cap. He's a cap guru and all of that. Let me know, as somebody who knows him, when he becomes a face of the franchise and he's in a press conference and things of that nature, why he is the right guy to be a guiding face publicly of this franchise, Richard.
Wow. So I I think it really, and it's not just the Steelers way, but it is the Steelers way. And there's integrity that gives him that right, and he has it. And I think that if you saw Twitter and you saw Aditi's, and you talked to Aditi this morning, I think, right?
Yep.
And if you saw Aditi's post about this is who Omar Khan is, when he found out a couple years ago that her baby was sick at home and she was stranded and couldn't get back to Pittsburgh, he made sure that she got on the team plane to get her back to Pittsburgh to her sick child. That's who Omar Khan is. That's not a surprise. That's not changing by the day, the minute, the title, nothing. That's who you got. That's the guy. And
so it's not words, it's actions, and it's a way he carries himself, is what you're telling me.
200%. 200%. And does he have the ability to do the whole job? Of course he does, or he wouldn't be the GM. He does have that ability. I mean, have you really ever sat down and talked to him?
Not at length, no. I don't think many have, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you should. He's a wonderful human being, family guy, wanted to be here, never wanted to leave here. He interviewed a couple places, never wanted to go anywhere but Pittsburgh, ever. This is his dream. And, his background is, I think he's from New Orleans, right?
Right, yes. Went to Tulane and started working down there with New Orleans.
Yeah, and so he graduated Tulane, I think, in 3.5 years. And he was in sports management. But the thing that he and I talked about this actually, because, I call myself a minority. I'm Syrian and Italian. And I said, Omar, you're a minority too. What are you? And I mean, he's like an exotic minority, but he's, I think his mom was from Honduras, maybe. I don't remember. Wow. But he's really got a very eclectic background. Spent the time with the Saints, and then I think it was 4 years. And I think I must have met him. And I'll tell you, I tried to think of how. I can't remember how I met him. Probably right about the time 20 years ago that he got here.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, probably that long ago. And so, I mean, we don't talk every day, but we are friends. So I'm really happy for him. And like I told him, you got there's a table, there's a dining table. You have 32 invitations. You have 32 seats at that table, and he's got one of those 32. That's a big, cool thing.
Now, tell me this, because I think the answer is probably yes. But now that someone takes over and it's new, does the goal remain each year to win a championship? I was really thinking long and hard about this because the Steelers are one of these benchmark, landmark, high water franchises in the National Football League. Do you think even in the private meetings they say we could win a title this year? Do you think that happens?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I'll give you two examples. And the Steelers are no different. And Mike Tomlin is a fierce competitor. And I'll give you two examples. Did you watch the I think it's ESPN Top 100 Football Players?
I did, yes.
Okay. And you saw the Bill Belichick
part
of that, right? And Bill Belichick said, tell them very simply, walk into the locker room the very first day, win the Super Bowl. Right. That's our goal. We're here to win a Super Bowl. He didn't say now, and I'll give you the other side of that to a lower degree. Ken Wisenhunt, when he was here, and he left and he went to Arizona, very first day. And remember, they were like 3-13 the year that he went, and I forget the guy's name that was the head coach. But Arizona was 3-13. Ken Wisenhunt and some thought he was crazy. The day he walked in the door, he said, "No fanfare. Your job is to win the division. I don't care what you have to do. Win a division." And of course, they did that year, not with a stellar record. I think their record was only like 9-7 that year. But they did do that. But they set that bar from day one. Now, I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, Colin, and you are much more well-read on this topic than I am, and it's what you do every day. I'm just a fan. But what I am telling you, in my opinion, I think this team really can win a Super Bowl right now. I really do.
Wow.
I do. I think they can. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter to me if it's Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. I think they're similar in style. I like them both.
One thing that astounded me in seeing the videos from the first day of OTAs, the first couple workouts and things, that I think I forget or it's not accentuated enough by his rookie year. It jumps out at me how much bigger Najee Harris is he's a big guy. He can absorb hits. And I hate admitting anybody's right, especially you. But you had said something last year that he could turn into a Le'Veon Bell type, where he might turn into a guy where he can't get enough touches and go ahead and he can absorb them all. And I'm thinking, I don't know. After looking at his body structure and body type and body style again, you might be right about this.
Well, yes, but there's a but. Yes,
Yeah.
but because the part of that worries me is I think we need to have a formidable backup to him, because heaven forbid I'm wrong on that part and he does
Right.
get hurt. We need to have somebody ready to go to share those duties, and I don't think we have that person yet. And I think that's something we really need to look at. But I do. I think they're ready to go. I think this team, little tweak here, little tweak there. I think this team is like a thoroughbred that's been held back and ready to run. And I think it's been held back because we were restricted with what we could do. And we keep hearing these wonderful comparisons and descriptions of Matt Canada's offense.
Right.
Where was that? I never saw that. 2 seconds and throw the ball 2 yards downfield. That's not what I'm hearing Matt Canada's offense is. I think Matt Canada played the hand he was dealt. And now we're going to see him take the reins off. We're going to see the players take the reins off. You're going to see a Chase Claypool reinvigorated, refocused without Juju here as a distraction, which I think he was. But I love Juju, but I think the two of them together were a distraction to each other. I think Deontay, I saw something today that Deontay didn't miss a pass yesterday in the OTAs, didn't drop a pass. And that's what Deontay can be, I think. And you have two new receivers. Man, I'm really excited about this team. I really am.
What does it signify, if anything, that in the OTAs that Mitch Trubisky has been getting the first snaps? Does it signify anything to you?
Yes. It signifies Mike Tomlin's brilliant.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Why would he name him first? Why would he put Kenny Pickett ahead of anybody? He hasn't earned anything. He's never stepped on a football field in the professional ranks. Mike Tomlin to me can be Bill Belichick. And I think, again, Mike Tomlin was held back. I think Ben, really gave us his best. I really do. But I think that we really, had a handicap for a while. I really do. And I love Ben. I think he's done wonderful things for us. But, I don't think we had Ben for a couple of years.
This is fascinating to me because the way that it needs to play out, like you in your business, you measure this and you have goals and you do things. I wonder if every single moment from now until the start of the season, and maybe even into the season, is ultra calculated by Mike Tomlin right now and what he wants to do with the quarterbacks. Like every single snap, every single play in a preseason game, all of that, if the roadmap is pretty firm right now or not.
No, I think Mike Tomlin, again, brilliant. He's a competitor. Yeah, let the men compete. Let the men compete. Hey, maybe it's going to be Mason Rudolph. I don't know. Let's see what happens. You throw three guys out there, throw them in a ring. Who wants it the worst is going to determine it. Not who's got the best arm. Who wants it the worst? Who wants it more than anything?
Three dogs, one bone. This happened with the receiver core way back in the day when you had Emmanuel Sanders, you had Mike Wallace, you had Antonio Brown, if you remember. Those guys, that happened in that regard. And it was fascinating to watch them compete against each other all the time.
Wasn't Emmanuel Sanders, wasn't he a little bit like Deontay in terms of the drops?
Yeah, a little bit early on.
Yeah, he had a lot of the drops. Where's he playing now?
He was in Miami. I don't know where Emmanuel Sanders is now, but he was a guy that you wondered if he would ever make it. He was in Denver, and you wonder if he'd ever make it. But man, alive. You say it's a competition. I just go all three ways. What if Kenny Pickett outshines them all? Do you really want to play?
Then he starts.
Yeah.
Then he starts. How simple is that?
I want it to be that simple. I do, but a lot of times coaches or front office people get in the way of allowing it to be that simple, as do contracts.
I don't think so. I don't think that's Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin loves the competition. I think he thrives on it. He's got 3 decent horses right now in this race, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
He really does. Mason Rudolph has value. I mean, he's started a few games. He's 3 or 4 years in the NFL. So he's got value. We may not think he's a franchise quarterback, but he's got value. And then you have Mitch Trubisky, who I like a lot, actually. And
I think Mitch Trubisky is going to start at least 11 games for this team this year.
And if he does, then Kenny Pickett's going to have to work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Kenny Pickett should sit, but I don't think he should be given it either.
What if it's a tie? What if this is a good question, because I thought about this morning when I was doing my show. What if everything's equal, all things equal? Do you have to, if you're Kenny, and let's take Rudolph out of it. Let's say Rudolph's not very good in camp.
Like how you just did that.
Yeah, but let's just say that happens.
Okay.
Let's say it's Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, and they virtually are mirror images of each other. Does Trubisky get any extra juice for being a veteran?
No, gone. Pickett starts.
Wow, if it's a tie, Pickett. So okay,
if it's a tie, Pickett starts. Let's go. If it's a tie, talent's all equal, everything's equal. Let's go. Let's get it going now. Why wait?
I go the other way. I
know you would. I knew you would.
That you have to beat the champ, and Trubisky, albeit just by a little bit, is the champ because it's just simply that he's a veteran, and that's it. That's the
I
only
understand what you're saying. I mean, you could probably convince me to change my vote, but I don't think so. I think, I want to get there. I want to get there now. If they're equal, I want them to then in talent and everything else, then let's give it to him and let's go and let's let him learn. Let him learn on the job. Let's go. He's got youth and experience. And remember, he's not all that young.
Right. He and Trubisky are about the same age, close to what their skill position players are for the most part. They're contemporaries.
Well, let's go. What are we doing? Let's go. But and I do like Trubisky. Trubisky's going to be surprised to some.
I think he's going to start at least 11 games. All right, that's great stuff today. Omar Khan. I was on the fence on how much people should want a money man to lead, but then I started reading a lot more biographical stuff, and I believe he's more well-rounded than just a capologist. I believe he's an unbelievable people person, which is what you need in that role. You need a steadying and guiding hand from true football guys, which he has in there. And you need the trust of the head coach, which he obviously has, or he wouldn't have been named the general manager.
The one thing you didn't see in here that will be no matter what is that he always has, and probably even in a structured role, he always has Kevin Colbert to lean on.
Right.
And so,
that's, because Kevin, that's another great point. Yeah, I'm sure you have guys in your business. I have guys in my business that aren't necessarily still in the business every day. They're retired, but they're kind of like in the business emeritus. You can lean on them. You can call them, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he has in Kevin Colbert is an invaluable resource to go to.
And I think there's probably going to be a structure announced that will define that as an advisor, something. I think you'll have a desk in the South Side.
Nice. Plus, Omar drives a Ford, so there you go.
Omar!
Yes, I'm all in. I'm all in on the – hey, if they see fit, I see fit. I trust the Rooneys, and I trust the Steelers with decisions like that. I just do. I see fit. So great stuff. I think they got the right guy, and we're inching closer.
He's here for the next 25 years.
Wow, 25.
Yeah, he'll be.
Watch out for one thing. Before we go, I want to give you one tip that I got, right?
It sounds like a piece of advice.
It's advice. It's also information. It's more information than advice, actually. Art II will be 70 soon. He's creeping up on 70. I believe in September or October, he'll be 70. It won't be long, maybe the next half decade. His son, Danny, who went to Dartmouth undergrad, played football there, got his business degree at Wharton at Penn. He's been groomed, young Danny has, Shadyside Academy graduate, to be the next president of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm told that might actually happen sooner rather than later. That Art isn't like his father and doesn't want to work until he's, very, very old. He wants to enjoy life. And young Danny is much more like his grandfather, personality wise, than his father. He's in the locker room, patting guys on the back, out on the practice field. Danny Rooney will be the next president of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it might not take that long.
Okay, so that's actually not a bad thing. I think you introduced me to him at one time before. I really don't know him, but that's not a bad thing. Who would his grandfather be?
The ambassador.
Which one?
Dan Rooney, that died not too many years ago.
Dan Rooney.
Yes,
Dan
Art Rooney, the second son. Yes.
Okay, so because there's, I'm trying to figure out the lineage here. Yeah. Okay, so he's Art's senior's son.
Art the second son. Yes.
Okay. All right. And Art the second is
the current president. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't find that to be a problem, actually. I actually like that. I think youth always is good. And I think, if we're going to start this, let's make the transition complete. And did you hear that it's also going to be tied to all of these changes?
Yeah, in a way, yes. And I'll tell you why. You have a general manager type who you can lean on as a presidential type. In that Omar at one point was looked at as a guy who could potentially be president of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's now in a general manager role. He could help on a younger president or someone like that. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's a move I would make, actually. Yeah, it's a move I would make. I would salute that move.
Yep.
Do you know Dan?
A little bit, yeah. And so from what I've heard from other people, especially who know him much, much better than I do, he just has it. He is like his grandfather, the late Dan Rooney. That
and to be honest with you, some have said that we are missing that.
A lot have said that. Not that Art II is a bad person by any stretch, but he's an attorney by trade. He's an attorney, and that's how he acts.
Right. And so that's not a bad thing. I would actually think that would be a good thing, but what do I know? I sell Fords.
But a lot of them. So
a lot to be, a lot. In any event, thank you for taking your time today with me.
Yes, sir. Richard, until next week, I will talk to you.
And I bid you adieu.
We'll see you. Bye.